Two women outside an Atlanta garage laughed at the grease-stained mechanic beside a battered pickup. Jasmine Reed did not. She kept talking to him with the same respect. None of them knew Marcus Cole was a billionaire, hiding his fortune to find out who saw the man first. Marcus could have ended the joke with one sentence. Instead, he wiped his hands on a rag and let the women walk toward the event hall across the street. Jasmine barely glanced after them. "You were saying the alternator can wait?" she asked, and Marcus felt the question land deeper. 6 weeks earlier, Marcus had been sitting in a private dining room while a date scrolled through photos of resorts on his phone. She had asked little about his father, his work, or what he wanted. The moment he mentioned a company retreat in the Caribbean, her attention sharpened. Marcus had seen versions of that reaction before, though he had also stopped asking whether his own social circle helped create it. He dated inside rooms built around money, then resented people for noticing money. Still, suspicion had hardened into a question he could no longer ignore. The next morning, Marcus told his COO he was stepping back from public appearances for 6 weeks. Daily operations continued while Marcus handled major approvals through one secure call each night. His assistant objected. Marcus cut her off. "If it isn't urgent, I don't want to hear it." He drove to the neighborhood garage his late father had once owned. Calvin Brooks had run it for years, long after Marcus left Atlanta's South Side for college and business. Most current customers had never known the Cole family, and Marcus had not been a regular face there in decades. Calvin looked at the duffel bag, plain clothes, an old pickup Marcus had pulled from storage. "What are you proving?" Marcus put his watch in the bag. "I want somebody to meet me before they meet my money." Calvin shook his head. "Just make sure you don't become the lie." Marcus moved into the small apartment above the shop. He worked under Calvin's supervision, using skills his father had taught him years earlier, while Calvin handled diagnosis and final checks. To customers, he gave only his first name. When anyone asked about his life, Marcus kept the answers short. Then Jasmine's sedan broke down a block from the garage. Marcus helped push it in. Calvin inspected the car, and the estimate came back higher than Jasmine could pay at once. Marcus nearly offered to erase the bill before catching himself. Calvin suggested a written payment plan instead. Jasmine read every line, asked what could safely wait, then signed. "I can handle fair. I just don't want charity." Marcus liked that answer. If you were watching him begin this experiment, would you call it smart or unfair before Jasmine even knew she was being tested? Over the next 6 weeks, Jasmine returned for scheduled work on the car. Sometimes she brought her teenage brother Deshaun, who was living with her while their mother worked out of state and had formally authorized Jasmine to handle school and medical decisions during that stretch. Deshaun loved engines and asked questions faster than Marcus could answer them. Marcus showed him how to organize tools, read a service manual, and trace a problem before replacing parts. Calvin always checked the work, which Deshaun hated until Marcus told him. Being careful isn't the same as being scared. Jasmine noticed Marcus's patience, but she was not endlessly easy herself. She had spent years solving problems for other people, and sometimes she crossed the line into controlling them. When Deshaun changed part of his school project without telling her, Jasmine immediately tried to take over the plan. As a school counselor, Jasmine spent her days helping students with academic choices, career plans, family stress, and problems that followed them into the classroom. She was good at helping others ask for support. Accepting support for herself was harder, which Marcus slowly learned not to treat as rejection. Their conversations stretched beyond the repair. Some evenings, Jasmine arrived near closing and stayed while Deshaun worked. They ate takeout on the scarred workbench, argued about music, and traded stories about Atlanta. Marcus discovered that attention felt different when he could not substitute an expensive gesture for effort. One night, Jasmine looked toward the apartment stairs. "You really live up there?" Marcus nodded. "For now." She asked whether the garage paid enough to make that work. He hesitated, then said, "Barely." I'm catching up on bills, so cheap rent helps. It was his first direct financial lie. Jasmine did not pity him. A week later, she showed up with a link to a better-paying mechanic opening. Marcus stared at the screen. You said money was tight, she reminded him. Cornered by his own story, Marcus answered, yeah, better money wouldn't hurt. The second lie came easier. Calvin heard about the job lead and waited until Jasmine left. You know what changed? He asked. Marcus kept sorting sockets. What? Calvin pointed toward the door. Before, you were hiding information. Now you're feeding her information that isn't true. That's not an experiment anymore. Marcus promised he would tell her. He meant it each time he said it. Then Jasmine laughed at something, or Deshawn interrupted, or Marcus imagined her expression changing after the truth. He kept postponing the conversation because every good day made honesty feel more dangerous. The weekend the two women appeared outside the garage, the event hall across the street was hosting a charity reception. Marcus recognized them as loose acquaintances from fundraising circles, not close friends. His beard and overalls confused them, though one stared an extra second and murmured, "You look familiar." The other woman laughed at Marcus's pickup and joked that the truck probably needed more help than anything inside the garage. Her friend looked uncomfortable and said, "Come on, that's a little much." Marcus stayed quiet, curious despite himself about what Jasmine would do next. Jasmine did almost nothing. She continued discussing her car, asked Marcus whether Deshawn could come by Saturday, and never shifted away from him to protect her image. Marcus had wanted proof that someone could respect him without visible status. Now that proof was standing directly in front of him, Calvin saw what Marcus was refusing to admit. Jasmine was no longer a stranger in an experiment. She trusted him, worried about him, and was changing her own plans around things he had told her. Every day Marcus waited made the eventual truth harder to separate from betrayal. A few nights later, Jasmine explained why dishonesty was a hard boundary. Her previous serious relationship had not ended with one dramatic betrayal. It had been worn down by small lies, where he was, what he wanted, what he had promised, until she could no longer tell what was real. I can deal with a truth I don't like, Jasmine said. What I can't do is build my life around something fake. Marcus looked down at the takeout carton. She noticed. You okay? He answered, just tired. Even that harmless-sounding escape made him feel worse. Meanwhile, Deshawn's school connected him to a youth automotive showcase supported by local garages. Calvin agreed the shop would mentor his project, which meant Marcus's involvement was no longer just a favor to Jasmine. He had made a commitment to the boy and to the program. One evening after Deshawn left, Jasmine admitted she liked Marcus. She said it awkwardly, almost annoyed with herself. Marcus laughed, then told her he felt the same. Her expression softened. Okay, just don't make me regret trusting you. Marcus knew there would never be a cleaner opening. Jasmine, there's something I need to tell you. She waited. Marcus heard Calvin closing the office. He pictured Jasmine learning that the apartment, the bills, and the job conversation had all been shaped around a test. Fear 1. I should have told you sooner that I like you too. Jasmine smiled and kissed his cheek before leaving. Marcus stood alone beside the workbench, knowing he had just made his worst decision. Should he have told her everything right there, even if it ended them, or had the lies already made the timing impossible? 3 days later, Marcus's company moved forward with a planned regional expansion announcement. Marcus had expected his COO to lead most of it, but a major investor demanded the founder's CEO appear publicly after rumors began circulating about his long absence. His assistant called the garage directly. Marcus could have postponed again, but this time the business consequences were real. He agreed to return for the announcement, gave his team permission to issue updated press materials, and told Calvin, I'll tell Jasmine tonight. Calvin stared at him. You keep scheduling honesty after everything else. Marcus never got the chance. Jasmine's school had been invited to the company's upcoming community partnership event. A colleague opened the local news coverage attached to the invitation and froze at the photograph. "Jasmine," she said, turning the screen. "Isn't this the man from Deshawn's garage?" Jasmine saw Marcus in a tailored suit beneath the headline. Billionaire CEO Marcus Cole returns for regional expansion. She read it twice. Then the lies rearranged themselves in her head. Barely paying rent, needing better money, living above the shop because he had few options. After work, Jasmine drove to the garage alone. Marcus saw her crossing the floor and understood immediately. She held out her phone. "Is that you?" He looked at the photograph, then back at her. "Yes." She swallowed. "Marcus Cole." He nodded. "Yes." Jasmine's anger stayed controlled, which made it worse. "So the apartment?" Marcus answered, "Real." "The garage?" "Real." "The bills?" Marcus looked down. "Not real." "The job you said you needed?" He closed his eyes. "I didn't need it." Jasmine gave a small, disbelieving laugh. Marcus explained why he started the experiment. Too many relationships had become entangled with access, money, and status. Jasmine listened until he said he wanted to know whether she was genuine. Then she cut him off. "You needed me to prove I was trustworthy while you were lying to me." Marcus tried to say the feelings became real. Jasmine shook her head. "That's the part you don't understand. Mine were real while I was making decisions with false information." He said he had been afraid she would leave. Jasmine replied, "So you decided I didn't get a choice." She walked out. Marcus did not follow. The empty garage felt louder than any argument. For once, there was nothing he could manage with a better explanation, stronger connection, or larger number. He had found the woman who did not care about his wealth and hurt her with it anyway. His first instinct was predictable. He considered funding a major program at Jasmine's school, then imagined adding support to the youth automotive project. Calvin stopped him before he made a call. "If money wasn't what broke this, why are you reaching for money to fix it?" Marcus returned fully to work. The first week, his COO told him a delivery expansion target was unrealistic. Marcus nearly shut the conversation down the way he used to. Then he remembered how often he demanded comfortable information. "Show me what I'm missing," he said instead. He also reconsidered the story he had told himself about women. His past relationships had disappointed him, but he had chosen many inside, status-heavy rooms and treated those experiences like evidence about everyone. Jasmine had not created his distrust. She had simply been forced to pay for it. With Jasmine, Marcus sent one message. He apologized without defending the experiment, told her he understood why she needed distance, and said he would not contact her again unless she wanted it. No flowers arrived. No donation appeared in her name. No invitation came from his mansion. Deshawn's mentorship continued because Calvin's garage had formally committed to the showcase. Jasmine allowed it, but she set clear boundaries. Marcus accepted them. He helped Deshawn finish the project, corrected mistakes, and never once asked the teenager what Jasmine was saying about him. One afternoon, Deshawn offered anyway. "I could tell her you're different now." Marcus shook his head. "Don't sell me to your sister. She gets to decide what she thinks." Deshawn rolled his eyes. "Adults make everything complicated." Marcus smiled. "That's because adults are talented." Weeks passed. Jasmine heard about Marcus mostly through ordinary details. He showed up when promised, did not use Deshawn to reach her, and kept helping even when there was nothing romantic in it for him. She did not suddenly forgive him. She simply stopped assuming every good action was performance. The Youth Automotive Showcase was eventually included in Marcus's company's community partnership event, the same program Jasmine's school had been invited to join. That brought the garage, Deshawn, and Marcus's corporate world together for a reason that had been building for weeks instead of by coincidence. Jasmine attended for Deshawn. She saw Marcus across the venue in a dark suit, surrounded by executives and reporters. People adjusted themselves around him. For the first time, she fully understood the scale of the life he had hidden and how unnecessary his lies had been. One of the women from the event hall approached Marcus near the sponsor area. She finally recognized him and looked embarrassed. "I owe you an apology about that truck joke." Marcus shrugged. "You don't owe me one because I'm rich." It was a cheap joke either way. Marcus noticed Jasmine later, but did not corner her. He greeted Deshawn, congratulated him on the project, and returned to the event. Jasmine was the one who walked over before leaving. "Can we talk sometime?" Marcus nodded. "Whenever you're ready." They met at Calvin's garage 2 days later. Marcus did not choose the place. Jasmine did. She wanted the conversation where the false story had started. Marcus gave her the whole truth, including parts that made him look worse, and did not ask what she planned to do with it. "I started this because I didn't trust women," he said. "What I didn't admit was that I also didn't trust my own judgment. So I created a test I could control. Then when you passed it, I kept changing the rules because telling you the truth meant giving up control." Jasmine was quiet. "You made me feel foolish." Marcus nodded. "I did, and my past made that hit harder." "I know." He did not promise he would never fail again. He only said, "If you ever give me another chance, I won't make you earn information you should already have." Jasmine did not offer coffee that night. She left with the apology and took another 2 weeks. Then, on a Saturday morning, Marcus received a message from her. "Coffee. 1 hour. No tests." He smiled before answering. "Your rules." This time, the restart belonged to Jasmine. Coffee became another conversation, then another. Trust returned slowly, with questions Marcus answered directly and boundaries Jasmine did not apologize for. She also learned to loosen her grip on Deshawn's choices, while Marcus learned that honesty sometimes meant accepting an outcome he could not manage. Months later, Marcus stood at Calvin's garage helping Deshawn adjust the project engine while Calvin checked their work. Jasmine arrived carrying food and told both of them they had missed lunch again. A customer glanced at Marcus's dirty hands and asked Calvin, "New mechanic?" Calvin smiled. Marcus looked at Jasmine, and Jasmine smiled back. Marcus no longer rushed to correct what strangers assumed. The garage was real. The company was real. His money was real. For the first time, the woman beside him knew all of it and could choose with the full truth. If Marcus's choice made you think about where privacy ends and dishonesty begins, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who would argue the other side. And tell me this, would you have given Marcus another chance, or would the lie have ended it for good?